Humans have been around for over 200,000 years, and in that time, we've accomplished some pretty amazing things, like curing diseases, launching satellites into space, and developing some really complex social media platforms. But there are also things that have been discovered from ancient times that no one can explain. Here are 6 pieces of ancient technology we still can't explain. He was excavating at the ancient site of Dura Europos when he came across a collection of clay jars that had been sealed with bitumen. The jars were round, and inside them were 2 pieces of copper and 1 piece of iron. The reason it's so strange is that it contains writing that has never been deciphered. The book is named after the rare bookseller, who purchased it in 1912. He went to investigate and discovered a large structure hidden in the tall grass. It looked very much like a pyramid. So he told the local authorities. An investigation was launched, but what the team found was so strange that they decided to keep it a secret. Let me know in the comments below and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye. They did not want to draw attention to the site, so they built a fence around it and guarded it day and night. This lasted for several weeks. But eventually the news got out and looters destroyed a large part of the pyramid. What the team had discovered was an artificial structure made from limestone blocks. It looked very much like the pyramids that had been built in Egypt thousands of years ago. There were stairs leading up the sides, and it was clear that the blocks had been expertly cut and arranged. There was one big difference. This wasn't a tomb. It didn't contain any sarcophagi or mummies. And researchers couldn't determine who had built it or why. They believe it may have been constructed around 800 BC and served as a ceremonial center for the local society. The builders may have performed rituals on the stairs, or conducted astronomical observations from the top. However, there's no way to know for sure. The pyramid was badly damaged, and valuable artifacts were stolen. It's possible that new excavations will reveal more about this mysterious structure, but as of right now, it's one of the biggest mysteries in South America. He believed that the text was written in an unknown medieval language, but scholars quickly determined that this was not the case. The most famous is the crystal skull of Max Havelaar. This skull is nearly flawless, weighs 20 pounds, and is almost 7 inches tall. You can see every detail in the facial structure, and the teeth are even visible inside the mouth. Most scientists believe that the skull was carved using modern tools. The process of carving crystal is very difficult, and would have taken an incredibly long time. Even with modern tools, it would take months to carve a skull this intricate. So it's unlikely that someone would have done it in the distant past without the right equipment. The skull was likely carved in the 19th century during the Victorian era, and back then people were obsessed with death and the afterlife. Many wealthy families would have their loved ones photographed after they died, and the photos would be turned into mourning jewelry. The crystal skull would have been a perfect addition to this macabre trend. The strange thing is no one knows where it came from or who made it. There are rumors that it was found in the ruins of a temple, but this has never been confirmed. They concluded that the script is actually a cipher of some sort. And while several people have claimed to have deciphered the book, no one has been successful. Some experts believe that the text is actually written backwards and should be read in a mirror. Others believe that it may have been encrypted using a Caesar cipher. This is a method of encryption that involves shifting each letter in the alphabet a certain number of places. For example, if the shift is 3, then it becomes D. B becomes E, and C becomes F. The problem is no one can agree on what the shift should be in order to decipher the book. One researcher spent 35 years trying to break the code, and he ultimately failed. Even modern technology hasn't helped much. Computers have attempted to analyze the patterns within the text, and several images have been reconstructed, but the words themselves remain a mystery. Some have speculated that the manuscript may contain dangerous information about alchemy or forbidden knowledge. This is why some experts believe it has remained hidden for so long. It may simply be too dangerous for us to understand. When scientists investigated these further, they realized that this may have been an ancient battery. In 2007, an archaeological team from the University of Pennsylvania Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology excavated an ancient structure in the jungles of Belize. The site dated back to the classic Maya period, between 250 and 900 AD. That's when they came across a strange artifact made from clay. It looked very much like a modern plastic cup, specifically a Solo brand cup that's used by fast food restaurants all over the world. Obviously, this isn't a solo cup since it was made 1,000 years ago. But the design is uncanny. Unfortunately, the cup was badly damaged, and it took several years for scientists to be able to reconstruct it. The main body of the cup was in good shape, but both ends were missing. With some careful work, they were able to recreate the lid and the bottom, and they got a pretty good idea of just how it was used. Researchers believe it would have been placed on top of a vase or a bowl. There's a small hole in the center and a lip all the way around. This would have allowed the cup to fit snugly on top of a vessel and create an airtight seal. The Maya were known for their advanced knowledge of astronomy and science, so it's not surprising that they would have developed a container like this. However, it's surprising that we don't have any records of this technology being used by other ancient cultures. This could be because the Maya were largely isolated. Their empire was cut off from most other societies and they weren't influenced by outside cultures. Or it could be that they didn't use this type of technology until late in their development. Either way, we don't have any evidence of anything similar being used by other ancient civilizations. The copper and iron would have acted as electrodes, and if the jar had been filled with an acidic liquid like vinegar or lemon juice, it could have been used to generate a current. It has been theorized that the pot could have been used for electroplating, or maybe even as a source of energy for a device that has been uncovered yet. These so-called batteries were found near a palace, and researchers think they were used for powering something related to the royal bath. However, the exact use of these mysterious artifacts is still unknown. Number 6. Baghdad Battery. This artifact was discovered in 1936 by an Iraqi museum official. The Antikythera mechanism is considered by many to be the world's first computer. This ancient device was discovered in 1902 off the coast of the Greek island of Antikythera. A team of divers were searching for treasure from a Roman ship that had sunk in the area, when they found the remains of a bronze gearbox. At first they thought it might be part of a clock, but as they continued to explore, they realized just how advanced this artifact truly was. They found dozens of intricately designed gears and a large inscribed plate. Scientists were able to decode some of the inscriptions, and they learned that the device was used for tracking astronomical positions, predicting eclipses, and calculating dates for religious festivals. What makes this so mysterious is that it was created sometime before 70 BC. And we know how such a complex machine was developed so early in human history. Researchers currently believe that the mechanism was likely the product of a lost civilization that existed in Greece before the current known civilizations rose to prominence. No. 5. Antikythera mechanism. 4. The Voynich manuscript. The Voynich manuscript is a book that was likely written in the early 15th century. 3. Dart container. 2. Peruvian pyramid. In the 1960s, a farmer from Peru noticed that his cows were afraid to enter a particular area of his land. Number 1. Crystal skulls. There are several crystal skulls that have been discovered in South America, and no one knows how they were made. Thanks for watching. Do you know of any other ancient technologies that we still can't explain?